Alright, I'm gonna continue from the new chapter. Oh, dude, I already saved. Took me. Oh, okay. Alright, I saved again, I guess. So awkward. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Skeptical Band. Huh? Episode 2, The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. Alright. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
狭い部屋の片隅、深い闇の中でホームズと私は息を潜めて待っていた。やがて通気口からシューシューと低くうなるような音が聞こえてきた。その瞬間、突然ホームズが飛び出して闇の一点をステッキで鋭く打ち据えた。見たかワトソン。ホームズの張り詰めた声が空気を震わす。私がランプの遮光板を上げると部屋の情景がぼんやり浮かび上がった。ホームズは部屋の隅を睨みつけて私に向かってつぶやくように言った。被害者が死の間際に言い残したまだらの紐という謎の言葉、その恐ろしい正体こそがこいつだったのだよ、ワトソン。そこには巨大な毒蛇が牙をむき、威嚇するようにとぐろを巻いていた。それは世にも恐ろしいまだらの紐だった。
By the way, I took painkillers for my mouth so I don't have to feel the pain when I read. So, yeah. 9th of January. Oh, I didn't even get to read that. Oh well, okay.
それでは謎解きを始めるとしようか。この奇怪なる殺人事件、その真相をね。失礼。犯行時、扉は内側から缶抜きがかかっていた。缶抜きに細工をされた痕跡はない。犯行の際、この現場は完全な密室状態だったわけだ。被害者は死の間際にメッセージを残したようだ。ここに落ちているインクを使って書いたと考えられる。ロシア語。どうやら被害者はロシア人ということか。文字に全く乱れは感じられない。被害者は相当意志が強かったのだろう。見たことのない妙な文字だな。筆跡はこのメッセージとは明らかに違う。いや、これはむしろ人種が違うと断言してもいいかもしれない。札を貼ったのは犯行時間の直前、被害者自身だったようだな。ほう、これはこれは。
A dead body?
一体貴様は何なんだ。好き勝手しやがって。
そうです。海洋警察が到着するまで現場に手を触れず待つべきだ。
その必要はない。どうやら今から5秒以内に諸君を犯人に紹介できそうだ。
バカを言うな。殺人現場だぞ。しかも奇怪な密室殺人だ。
それでは密室の謎、その封印を解くとしましょうか。
まさかその中に犯人が。
一体君は何者なのだ。僕は大英帝国が誇る世界の名探偵なのです。シャーロック・ホームズ。
That's Sherlock
もしかして
Holmes.
知らないとか。
Are you serious? Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Oh, my mother's definitely better. Wait. I can't move. Ugh, what the? Why am I in handcuffs? Ugh. So you wake up now. We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You. Ha! You found me then. Ah, we found you, and now you pay, criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe? Ugh. Sorry. Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is. Oh no, I tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life. Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Ah! You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's pelt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. Is everyone just accusing this guy all the time? Ugh. Wow. Kazu-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs, surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please. No. No. Sorry, that was funny. Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? When we get in trouble? Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way the Russian crewmen just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. I thought I was going to die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. But anyway, that's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. Oh my gosh. You make one mistake and you're jumbling all over your words. I know it's crap, but you better get in there. I think it won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I'll tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on a piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together. We'll leave you at the next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Duh. You said before. You said you admit everything about your crime. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you, too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs, they think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge even despite the circumstances? Please, says Sato-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, of course. He has no post-mortem analysis experience. I suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there was no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. About the incident. Can anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anybody want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting outside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage. But this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-sama, collapsed on the floor. And the white tape there now shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me too, trust me. Now I've told you everything I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ugh. My head feels so heavy, it's still throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board this ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No. That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me into England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you have to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-sama he was always saying the same thing, that he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. By stowaway on this ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right. Yes, word perfect, in fact. Last night. If you're not the culprit, then tell me. What happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed. Well, yes. I know it sounds unbelievable, really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please, forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me, I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you, but the trouble is, there is no one else here who could possibly have done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around and my hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Yeah. What the? That was a Susato takedown. A Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to? Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. I see. She expecting me to present some conclusive evidence? Why do I feel like he's pretending to be dead? Like they're just pretending he's dead and just to get him to do it all by himself. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. Kazuma would stick this over the doors of the wardrobe for me. It says out in Japanese, though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. Let's examine it. This is the paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember really working hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Kazuma reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that, he said? Still, I was sure people would get the idea even if they couldn't read it, so we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Wait, actually, could I read it? Oh, okay, no. It's really hard to handwriting. Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Kazuma always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there, just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah, yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you, so you finally believe me. I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you use some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let us get to work, Susato-san. Please, don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you, to make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here, examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. And I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama, I no doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? It pains me to admit it, but I don't know. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with, but what does it mean, I wonder? It's Russian. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard. Are you, Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look around, all around using D-pad left and right, aren't you? Now, let us investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says this way up in Japanese, which, in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was tossed on the floor in here. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than Susato's takedown. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever that thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that shows just how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. I've investigated thoroughly, but I can't find anything out of it. Oh, okay. I thought the chair would be something. That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it, which meant all the more for me. Oh no, does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh. Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. I suppose nobody comes for a lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Fascinating. Sorry? What do you see? It feels like he's looking right through me. Ah, yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, with us venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself in the most troubling predicament. Oh, well that's true at least. What? How? How the deuce did I know that? Perhaps. It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the bare-boned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. So, it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama. What? And you are plotting a revolution, too. It's a shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way. Yeah. She's starting to get on my nerves. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but I was not right. Whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ah, there you have it. You see, what do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed. An observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles. You see, I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. Huh. I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century known to man and women the world over. The inevitable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. Sholmes, or whatever, I have no idea. The very same. The inevitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Sholmes. I guess they really couldn't use the real name. Did you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san? Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's Deduced or deduct? Okay, whatever. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Herlock Holmes. Oh, I see, you're German. Herlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rance magazine full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Ah yes, here it is. The Adventures of Herlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your interference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see. It is, to me, a science, logical reasoning in its purest form. A science? Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture, fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in a blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only, no, Herlock Holmes. Kazuma's dead. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. I feel like she's siding on his side because she's fangirling right now. That's exactly what she's doing. It's kind of like really bad. And I concealed myself among their numbers, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Herlock Holmes, was on. And the handcuffs seem to be excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ugh. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really, two facts, you say? Are you serious? Mr. Holmes, tell us, please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of question. Number 2. The victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Oh, that's the Russian. Obviously I can't read it, but that is the Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Kazuma somehow could have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man Russian, Kazuma was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Guard maybe the name of the killer, a certain Robert Guard perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim, in other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Are school uniforms the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma has already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Oh, that. Ah, yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me? Do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. I can't read that. How many times? Excuse me. How many times? I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian. Your deduction just now. Can we talk about your deduction before the things you concluded about me, I mean? The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in? Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 Part. Yes, the more sordid details. It was fairly a commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma a Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of Kazuma's Sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Valin Borsevik. No, no, no. How could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ugh. Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details, the 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik has recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This is Afghanistan. This is Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself. As a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all this of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. Article about revolutionary, an article on the front page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Revolutionary, violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. And you may find the article on the back page of the interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it, but I suppose it wouldn't hurt to just glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. What were you just investigating? Before we start talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma's? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful, anything at all? Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary, Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. That's something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what Zato takedown is. Zato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely, this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of this of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. But this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters of which I can't read. I can read precisely none. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Soames. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I could hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound. These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I have never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. A diary Kazuma was keeping for his trip to London, according to this last entry he made before his death. He spied on what appeared to be a speckled van. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victims writing his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose you're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds revel at stagnation. We crave mental exhalation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was a culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as a culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Oh god, he's fucking annoying. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said that you had the face of a criminal, you know, not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well then. Well anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? He reminds me of Gumshoe. That's who he reminds me of. What I mean, sir, is this... If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Ha 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 ha! Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. The sense of humor is twisted as his name. Naruhodo-sa, what are you just standing there for? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can. Hiya! After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue you're willing to give up, you're just going to roll over and accept your fate? Ugh. As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can do in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself, and I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Let me examine stuff. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. I can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Whatever. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It would appear the woman was in a costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room, wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be unbelievable sum of money. Suzato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've quite requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to the Great Britain. Could this be another case of Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. The article about the ballerina has been entered into the court record. Article about ballerina, an article on the back page of a Russian newspaper. The headline reads, Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this says. A pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page is a newspaper, is concerned with a fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary violin Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes live to tell the tale. Okay, wait. No, okay, I'll just leave it the way it is. It's okay, I'll just read it out loud. It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only shave it off. I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Let's talk to the man over there. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigate a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape, very funny. We're in the middle of the sea, there's no chance of me escaping. Yeah, I guess that's how you pronounce it. You stay in this cabin until next port, then it's up to you, Hong Kong police, to decide what they do with you. You stay. Alright. There's no point trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. I present something to this guy? I don't know what else I can look here. Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, so he says the same thing. Thanks to that so-called detective, I'm even more stuck inside this cabin than I was before. For the first time, I suppose I'll just have to focus my efforts on investigating in here. Good put. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama, no doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Okay, it's the same as before. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo. Okay. Okay, let me examine the other stuff. Maybe there's something that I missed. Okay, so oh my god, I'm actually confused. Like, am I missing something? When I went for help and the crewman forced the door open. Oh, this bolt has been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt and not particularly sturdy. It just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel The culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself, but the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal and they seal together perfectly. There would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again, but I suppose I could try. Is that? Oh god, it's him again. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Yes, what can I do for you? Hasunaga-san. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hasunaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew on board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, or perhaps his presence here can help me out of this hopeless situation. Special orders. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Hasogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Shikoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Hasogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama was assassinated. Obviously, we couldn't give Hasogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night every day. But I've never imagined it would happen here inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I've failed miserably at my assignment, and Hasogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize, Inspector. So if there's anything at all I can do to help now, just say the word. Permission to investigate. We're doing what we can do to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Good. So we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your own innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hasunaga could use. So evidence that would give us a valuable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I might know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Oh. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote, "What looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill." A spectacle band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right, so if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me the strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asugi-san safe. That is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move and we can leave this cabin at last. Move. Alright, let's see what we can find out. Let's go to the first class passageway. The passageway that connects the first class cabins on SS Burya. 9th January, 7:48 a.m. SAS Burya, first class cabin passageway. Phew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I was expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be, and this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-sama was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in the first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san. You look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know. But the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. This looks like a plan of the SS at Burya. It shows each deck look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. Is it? It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they're an enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to click. I wanted to click the book. Okay, can you awkwardly just go in there, please? That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san. Even the sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably, that means there was nothing to report. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Is something wrong? I was thinking about making a run for it just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that blurry seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started with my talk of running away. And there's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remains a mystery anyway. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day. Susato-san. I'm not a sailor. I'm not a sailor. My mother gave me name. I'm senior crewman. Big Stroganoff. Oh my god, that's such a common name. I hear this with Russian name all the time. Eesh. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. First class cabin area. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of the Burya steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaways inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in the ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied? Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes or no. Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes. It's tantalizing. Oh god. She loves being tantalized by that big burly man right there. I'm just joking. Passenger in the next room. Next door. Whatever. What's it? Next cabin. Next door cabin. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsley Roylott. He is a very important Western gentleman. A Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with the murder of a student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from oh my god. Oh my god, why can I not read this right now? I know what it says. Insignificant Far East Islands, okay. Oh my god. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably, since the gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. Last night. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Duh, all the time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no. I saw nothing unusual, nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said, no. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes. Alright. Bulkhead to second class areas, staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain, or, as English say, when the pigs fly. Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Is there anything else? Did I check that? That book on top of the table, that really is huge. There's a pen with it, too. Yes, I'm sure that's a ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready soldier, sailor, to have such beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably, that means there was nothing to report. Okay, but why was this not checked off? I read that already. Why was it not checked off? I've investigated thoroughly. Okay, no. There's nothing on that tray. Carry checked. Let's go this way. Okay, that has no meaning whatsoever. Wait, that does though. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? It's an alarm though. How do you not know what that is? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Ha! I wish everything would just stop, the ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Okay. What's this? Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called, cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Wait, does Japan not have cheese? Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. Are you serious right now? You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I have to do is eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin is steerage. Steerage is number 539, by the way. 500 and... How many cabins are there? This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe who's ever in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask. Knock, knock. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes, I shan't be stopped. When the fit hit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Release or relief. I don't know. Hold on, I'll check. 9 January, SS Korea. First class cabin, number 2. Relief, okay. Who are you? A Western gentleman. This man looks Russian to me. Oh, he's definitely that guy from that article. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsley Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me, and you are? I am the one and only the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the cover is this card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not, traveling inside one's trunk? Don't look at me. Oh my. Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. The strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. What do you think you're doing? Ugh. This is my cabin. Get out. Could we just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. Huh. What a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. You have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe while waiting. Waiting for the inevitable. Oh! And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course, though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards so closely is exposed? Would you like may well astound you? For I am about to apply my great detective, greatly admired great deduction to this case. What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you or anyone. Shh. I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Just as I thought. Yes. I have quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached to incontrovertible to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh. And number 2, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined a single glance he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What in fee-fable twaddle? Oh yes, I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and now I've experienced the astonishing today. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So I do accordingly invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together. The great deduction, the game is a... Oh god, the game is a foe. What is this? Topic 1, Old Man's Identity. Conclusion. So, the dubious-looking Russian Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place? It's the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begged is this: why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular the fascinating front page article, which it would appear you read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your discriminating Russian revolutionary himself, villain Bolshevik. You actually did good on that one. Now that I've heard it of you myself, you understand. A revolutionary on the run. Topic 2. Wrongdoing. Conclusion. Okay, not yet. Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Ah yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have prosperity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, and I assure you, the eyes speak much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Eloquently, yeah, that's not what I meant to say. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. That, yes, that traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. I what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we, you careless coop? Day betrays you. Once again, we need only to be found in the pages of this newspaper, for there is another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page, conclusion. Oh, one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to that article, the young lady's name is... Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of the Russian enigma. Eleminsky? Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But, did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall a discussion earlier, and at the time I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, while able to revolutionize his own appearance. That's not the point. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina, indeed, a truly startling revelation. At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child into that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she? You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could in their bodies? Vinegar. For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself into the confines of that small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of Mr. Naruhodo. Something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seem a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little of itself, Mr. Susato. It's just one more or two keywords in his deduction that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some keywords in his deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought that was going through my own mind. This man is a lot of work. At times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. It's not that funny. And you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. My wrists. Oh, where are your handcuffs? Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried, in fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Chorus correction, hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1, Old Man's Identity, conclusion, a revolutionary. Okay, do I really need to read this? Is that enormous pair of shears in your head? The answer, of course, is staring at us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the